Hello everyone, I'm Pierre-Alain Giraud and I'm the director of Noir that I also produced with Emanuela Righi and the company Novaya and that I co-directed with Stéphane Fuenquinos. And Noir is a piece written by Tania de Montaigne that we presented now in the ACT Festival in Guangzhou. So it's a long story that made us work on Noir as an immersive film. First, it was a book written by Tania de Montaigne. And this book was published 10 years ago, and it's the first book that was written about Claudette Colvin. Claudette Colvin was the first Black woman. She was 15 at the time in 1955 in Alabama in Montgomery. She was the first one to refuse to stand up in a bus and to sue the city for being asked to leave the bus because she was Black and she refused to give her seat to a white woman. And this was written, I said, 10 years ago. And Stéphane Fuenquinos read the book, and he decided to make a play out of the book. And so the play was made, and Stéphane asked me to do some videos projected on stage for the play. And then when we were doing the play, I was already working on the first AR exhibition, and I thought this could be the perfect subject to make another exhibition and to make a powerful exhibition, because with the AR you actually see the actors but as ghosts. They appear as holograms in front of you, and really the story is about traces of the past, about ghosts of the past and how they influenced the present. So there was a really deep connection between the form and the story here. And then we presented this at the Pompidou Center in 2023, so a bit more than a year ago, and the response to it was really great. So we didn't expect to have so much good feedback from the story, of course, but also the way it was told. And then we presented it in many festivals, starting with the Tribeca Film Festival, and the last one was the Cannes Film Festival, where they did their first immersive selection, and we were very happy to win this first Cannes Film Festival selection. So this story is really the story of a fight in the 50s in Alabama. So it's a story about how we should fight for every human right all the time. And Claudette Colvin embodies that fight in a very particular way, because it was not a very loud way that she fought, but she remained silent in a moment that was really critical for the rights of the Black people in America. So she was only 15. She was not an activist. She was a simple citizen that was segregated, and she decided one day that this was enough, and she decided to stand for her rights. So the way Tania wrote the book actually is very universal. So this is a story that can talk to everyone, in any society, because we can feel connected to that story in many different ways. And I feel that's the principal message we want to share with that story is, okay, if you see some inequalities, injustice where you are, you can now see that with very simple things, you can actually make big differences on a long-term perspective. So, and I think also the story of how we made this production embodies also the story of Claudette. For example, I mean, we couldn't have make it happen without the co-production from Taiwan with Flash Forward Entertainment. And when Patrick Marwang decided to come on board, it was thanks to the story, and the story was very far from him because, of course, he's from Taipei, which is a very different culture than the American culture. But the story of Claudette touched him and resonated in him in ways that can speak, I think, to any culture of the world. So it's always a bit cliche to say that, but the most important thing always is the story you want to tell, of course. And then the way you find the right form to tell that story. So I think this is the, I mean, what I just explained about the story of Claudette was really the core motivation for the whole team throughout the production and throughout the making of the film, of this AR film. And it's not really a big difference, I think, from making a normal film in the way that you have someone you want to tell the story of, a message you want to convey, and then you find the right way to say it. And you work with actors, you work with the technology you have, and you make your best work possible to tell it. We thought the form using AR was really important to tell that story for different reasons. We wanted for the audience to experience something of living the story in a different way than a film, in the sense of we wanted people to really be part of the story and be not only the spectators, but also some kind of the directors of the film that we're going to watch. So we needed to have people experiencing this story in a different way somehow. We wanted to try something new. And I think it's the first time that a story is told that way, so we had to invent new technologies to make it happen. It was very challenging, of course, because we had to create a new grammar, artistic grammar, to tell the story. We had to overcome technical challenges because the HoloLens are not at all made to do artistic things with, I mean, technological challenge that we had to overcome, but it was fun also because it was in a way going back to the beginning of cinema where we had new tools, we had new things to invent, and we had to see how people would react to that. So it was always back and forth between what we were doing, then testing on people and seeing how the technology would cope with what we wanted to do. So yeah, it was a new experiment somehow, but we are happy we managed to do that. Especially the shooting in Taipei was amazing, I think. We discovered also a great team. Krista, that is with me here, was the main producer for the shooting. We had to overcome lots of challenges, but we had teams that were really dedicated to make the best thing happens the best possible way, you know. So it was somehow, when we were shooting at the IP Lab in Taiwan, it's a new kind of studios where those real actors are filmed one by one in a special studio. And this special studio have many constraints that we have to overcome and find creative ways to do. So we had a team of costume designer, of prop designers that were with us, trying to find solutions to everything possible. And I think that this, to make a film like that happen in a very different way, with I think more than 30 nationalities coming together to make it happen. In the cast, for example, there were people from Taipei, but from all over the world. Rebecca is from Uganda, the girl that acts Claudette. We had people from Ukraine, Russia, the United States, Canada, France. I mean, all the nationalities were there to tell the story of Claudette. It was quite magical in a way that we managed to make that happen in Taipei. That was, yeah, some really amazing memories from that. Yeah. So with noir, what we did, we created a new form, and now we're quite excited actually to tell new stories and other stories with that new form. And so I have different projects. One that is more musical. I mean, I have a lot of musical projects actually now. With Tanya, the last one we're starting to work on is the story of early Paris in Montmartre, where in the cabaret in Paris, there were in France there was no segregation in early 20th century, and a lot of jazz players from the United States were coming to Paris and were actually becoming part of a vibrant new community of musicians. And the United States didn't see that with a good eyes, because they saw that there was no segregation in France and they had segregation. So they actually paid some bars in Paris to re-put segregation in Paris, which didn't really work. But it's all the story that we want to tell of the Montmartre of the early 20th century, with really interesting character, with Josephine Baker, for example. And also there's another project with Luis that I worked a lot on called The Amazon Gold. So it's a documentary about the production line in the Amazon distribution center that I'm mixing with the opera of Wagner, where Wagner in the 19th century was describing the capitalism of that time with a new form of slavery in the factories. That we see coming back today in France. The conditions of labor in those Amazon centers are really, really bad. And for 1 year, I got the stories from those centers, and I want to mix that with the opera to make that of a universal story also. I think it's the question for us is, what if people really stand up for the rights of everyone? And what if we connect to each other as all humans and not separating people in categories? So that's, I think, what Claudette's message is, and that connects really well with the theme and with the I think that's the most important thing now. I think we're in a very, at least in Europe and in the Middle East today, it's a really difficult time for geopolitical and very worrying time. And I think it is like that because some people see other humans are non-humans. And that's when terrible things can happen. So what if we started thinking of everyone as human beings? That would be a great start. So the meeting with Montessori was, I think, in 2016, and we worked in Seoul at the Myeongdong National Theater on a play called The Empire of Light, directed by Arthur Nosiciel. And at the time, I directed some films that were projected on stage, and also we did a short film with Montessori from that shooting we did together. And it was a great encounter. I really loved working with her. And since then, I've started to write actually a film for her that I finished writing, and I really hope that we can work more on it soon. So we are actually on the process of working on that. And this project was when I was asked to do it in Korea. It was very natural for me to ask Montessori to do the voice, and actually she had the comic book from Noir, which is published also in Korea, and she really liked the story. So she immediately said to me, "Yes, I really want to do that and be part of this adventure." So when she did the voice, actually, she's such an amazing actress that she immediately got the tone and the way to tell the story. I could hear it. I was in France, and we were on Zoom from the studio in Seoul. It was really immediately the right flow and the right intention that she put into the story, and I think the voice that she did is really, really beautiful, actually, in the Korean version. So I'm very, very pleased with it. I mean, it's different tools that you have to use. So you use different technologies, but at the end, I think it's not that different in a way that you have the technologies you have, even if you have a camera and you have, I mean, you have tools that you need to use. But the fun thing is that you need to use them in a creative way to make something new, something original, something that makes people excited about. So the content that you create is the most important. So you have those tools and you use them as much as you can creatively to make people immerse in a story, and to make people feel the excitement and the emotions of the scene. So in every way you use, that is cinema, 2D, or even I did a lot of animation, but what you're looking for is for creating something with sparkles somehow, and you need to find the sense of a reality when you make a scene happen. So even if it's in a studio with 60 cameras around, you need to find the spontaneity in the actors. You need to find the reality, or the sense of something is happening now, you know? And I think that's the most important thing. You need to forget the technologies. They are just tools, and they are tools at the service of a story that you need to make a vibrant story, I think. I mean, when we saw the results, we were very surprised by the emotion that we could get from this tool that was a bit different from what we can get from a 2D film, actually. And just seeing some, because we use in the AR film, we also use a 2D screen, and we put in front of the 2D screen, we put some holograms. And I think this contrast between the 3D and the 2D, and the way they talk to each other, like the way we see Claudette in front of the 2D film, where we can see archives, it was very emotional for me when I saw it for the first time. And I was really surprised by it. And I think with Stéphane, we were looking for those surprises, and we were looking for how this technology, how this new form could just surprise us all the time. And that was, I think it's why also the result is successful. It's because first it was also very surprising for us what we could do with that, and how we could see some scenes in a new ways somehow. So I think a good thing is to always look for unexpected things in whatever you do somehow. And you write something, and you need to let yourself be surprised by whatever comes from the actors, from the technician, from anyone with you working. Well, first, I'm very grateful. I'm very happy to be here and to be back to Korea, because I think it's a country also that gave me a lot in the way I did filmmaking when I worked in Seoul with Monsori and the Korean team. And it changed actually in a big way what I wanted to do and my life in general. So I'm very grateful to be back and to be here, and to the Guillemot and all the team at the ACC. We were welcome like it was incredible. So I can't wait to be back, and I thank everyone, and I say goodbye and thank you again. Yeah, thank you very much.